What's going on, football world? It's Carter with X's and O's, and on this video I'm going to be talking about defending the zone read by using a 4-3 cover 0. The first thing I need to do is draw an offensive formation, and I am going to be using a 4 wide receiver set, which is balanced, and putting my quarterback in shotgun with my tailback right next to him. I want to first start out by briefly discussing numbering wide receivers. This is going to be important when we talk about element number 2 in stopping the zone read. When we count wide receivers from a defensive point of view, we always want to count outside in. And so if we look from the left side, we are going to count X as number 1 and the slot as number 2. From the right side, again, counting outside in, Z is number 1, the slot is number 2. We know that there are always 5 wide receivers or 5 receivers on the football field. So regardless of which direction you're counting, the tailback would be the number 3 wide receiver. This will be important when we get into element number 2 of stopping the zone read. Coming out of the huddle, the defense needs to set the strength of the defensive formation. And so in my system, when defending against the zone read, I like to use the quarterback side to set the strength. We're talking about a 4-3 defense, and so in relationship to the tailback, the quarterback is on the right side when we are looking from the defensive point of view. And so out of the huddle, the defensive player responsible for setting the defensive formation strength would call a right because the quarterback is on the right side of the tailback. And so we will have our 5 technique, our 1, our 3 technique, and our 9. This happens to be a 4-3 over front because we set our 3 technique over the offense's strong guard. And so that is a 4-3 over front. It'll be a 4-3 because we're going to put our linebackers in just a second. Let's move to the coverage. Let's say the defensive call is a 4-3 over cover 2. And let's go ahead and put our mic in a 15. If it is a cover 2, that means that our safeties, we have a cover 2 safeties for safety support. But because these safeties are off of the number 2 wide receivers, the slot receivers right now present an immediate threat that we as a defense have to account for. And so as a defensive coordinator, I would tell my outside linebackers to split the difference between the end man on the line of scrimmage and the number 2 wide receiver, so that we can at least account for the possibility of a bubble screen or a quick pass play to the outside. And so my Sam linebacker would be somewhere there, and my Will linebacker would be somewhere there. This presents a problem in the running game. If we draw the box like so, the offense, let's keep in mind, is always trying to gain the advantage in the box in relationship to the running game. Let's count offensive players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's count defensive players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this type of defensive call, 4-3 over cover 2, we are losing the numbers advantage in the box. This will not bode well versus the zone read, because in a zone read, we know that the quarterback becomes a running threat. So let's look at the first element of defending the zone read a little bit closer. Let's change from a 4-3 over cover 2 into a 4-3 over cover 0 by simply walking the free safety and the strong safety down directly over the number 2 wide receivers, we have now eliminated the immediate number 2 passing threat, which now we can move our Will linebacker back into a 53, and we can move our Sam linebacker back into a 53. This is what we look, or this look is considered a cover 0. And a cover 0 simply means that there is 0 safety support. 0 safety support. But now, because we were able to move our linebackers back into the box, we have neutralized the box, or balanced the box. And if we count numbers again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have now balanced the box, and we are now 7 on 7 in the box versus the run. So as you can see, we have already helped out our cause by simply changing the coverage. In that cover 0, keep in mind that the corner is responsible for X wherever he goes, or number 1. Free safety is responsible for number 2. Strong safety is responsible for number 2. And the cornerback is responsible for number 2. No matter where those guys go on the football field, they are responsible for those wide receivers. Is this a good passing defense? It could be if you match up well man for man, defensive back to wide receiver. You are also eliminating the immediate short passing route, or at least making that short passing game a little bit more difficult. However, you are giving up potential deep vertical routes. If a quarterback and a wide receiver connect on a vertical route, such as a post or a fly, it could result in a big gain, or it could result in a touchdown. So that's something to be aware of. But for the sake of this video, we're talking about stopping the zone read, which is a running play. Let's talk a little bit more about the zone read. Zone football. Zone football can be an inside zone or an outside zone. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be drawing outside zone blocking schemes. And so the zone read is a type of option play. And so at the snap of the ball, that tailback is going to cross the face of the quarterback, and he is option number 1. Depending on the read, and in most cases the quarterback is going to read the defensive end, and so I have put him in the red box. Depending on what that read is and how he is coached, now there are various reads, and that's part of defending the zone read as well, is trying to get into the mind of the offensive coordinator and seeing exactly who he is telling the quarterback to read. For the sake of this video, we're going to assume he is reading the backside defensive end, or 5 technique. Depending on that read, because this is a type of option play, that quarterback now becomes option number 2. So this is the first element in defending the zone read, simply bringing 7 players into the box and neutralizing that box, or at least balancing it so we can go man for man inside the box in order to defend the run. Let's move into the next diagram. For the sake of the video and space, I am not going to draw the entire line, or excuse me, the entire formation, but rather just the box players. And so we have the 5-man offensive line, the tailback, and the quarterback. And as you can see, I am beginning to color code just a little bit different, and I'll explain why I'm doing that here in just a moment. Let's put our Will into the ball game and finish off by putting our Mike in a 15. Again, this would be a right call because of the reasons I stated before. Quarterback is on the right side. Let's bring our 9 technique into the game and put our Sam in a 53. The next element I want to discuss in defending the zone read is the use of cross reads. Cross reads. Certain players are going to be reading across the formation. The Sam linebacker. You can see that Sam and tailback are both in X's and O's yellow. And so that's going to tell you that Sam is responsible for keying pre-snap the tailback. That is a cross read. He is reading across the formation. The Will linebacker is going to read through his B gap and cross read the quarterback. Cross reads. Those players are responsible for those running threats. Will is responsible for the quarterback. Sam is responsible for the tailback. Mike, as you can see, is also in X's and O's yellow. Let's move back to the top. That's where the numbering of the wide receivers comes into play. As you can see at the top, we numbered the tailback as number 3. That does not change down here in this diagram. The tailback, assuming that the formation is the same, is still the number 3 wide receiver. In my system, majority of the time, I tell Mike to pre-snap read the number 3 wide receiver. In this case, that is the tailback. And so Mike and Sam are both reading the tailback or the number 3 wide receiver. Cross reads. This also gets into assignment football. Assignment football. By playing assignment football, which is a part of the cross read game, your defensive players know who they are responsible for or what their assignment is. Let's drop a blocking scheme, just like we have it up top. The backside tackle is going to work to Will. The backside guard, in more cases than not, is going to try to cut the 1 technique down so that the 1 technique does not gain penetration. The center will probably try to work to second level to get Mike. The front side guard will probably try to reach the 3 technique. And then the front side tackle will probably try to reach the 9 technique and work to second level to Sam. Now, when that occurs, we know if we assume that if we're looking at front side, and that's why I have the center, the guard, and the tackle all in X's and O's yellow, let's assume the center blocks Mike, the guard blocks the 3 technique, and the tackle blocks the 9 technique. That leaves assignment football and a one-on-one play for Sam to make on the tailback. Football always boils down to a one-on-one play. And so if Mike, the 3 technique, and the 9 are all blocked, it's a one-on-one play between Sam and the tailback. Sam has to make that play. On the backside, let's assume that the guard has cut the 1 technique, so the nose tackle is out of the play. Let's say that the backside tackle does get to Will, so Will is blocked. This leaves assignment football where 5, who is also the read man, is responsible for the quarterback. So we have assignment football by using cross reads. Let's move into the next diagram and the final diagram of this video. We are going to keep the same color code. Let's draw our 5-man offensive line, color coded the same as the previous diagram. Tailback away. Let's bring in our quarterback. And we have our right call again. We are assuming everything is the same. One technique in the weak side A gap. Let's go ahead and put Will into the ball game, and let's bring in the rest of our players. Mike, our 3 technique, our 9 technique, and our Sam backer. Let's go ahead and draw our blocking scheme. Again, backside tackle is going to work up to second level Will. Backside guard is going to cut the 1 technique. The center is going to work second level to Mike. The guard is going to reach and overtake the 3 technique. The front side tackle is going to reach, try to overtake the 9, work to second level Sam. Now, let's look at the final element of defending the zone read using a 4-3 over cover 0. 5 is the read player. This element I want to refer to as, let's go ahead and put this here. We want to close, and we want to close the B gap, which is the weak side B gap. Close, comma, ricochet, comma, and slow play. I like using this little rhyme, slow play. I like using this little rhyme. It kind of sticks in the head of the players. By having the 5 technique and the Will work together to close the B gap, having the 5 technique ricochet, and then slow play, we are going to dictate to the offense who has the ball. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. When that backside tackle moves up to second level, which is more than likely considered a down block, that backside defensive end is probably taught to come hard off of the backside of that tackle and probably chase for cutback. Because the quarterback is reading this quarterback, who is probably the best athlete, especially if they're running zone read, in this case will probably pull the ball and execute option number 2. This is something that we don't want. Instead, when the ball is snapped, we want that 5 technique to close the B gap. So push that 5 technique down in there hard, ricochet back out, settle down, and start to slow play. By keeping his shoulder pads square or parallel to the line of scrimmage, that quarterback is going to see that his shoulder pads are square to the line of scrimmage, and in most cases be taught to hand the ball to option number 1. Also, we want that Will linebacker to help close off that B gap as well. So he's going to step down hard into that B gap, settle down, stay square to the line of scrimmage, take care of that backside B gap. This is the B gap. I'm going to just draw a little B in there. Shut down that B gap, and by the defensive end and the Will linebacker working to close the B gap, the 5 technique ricocheting and slow play, the quarterback in most cases will probably hand that ball off to option number 1, which is what we want, because as I said before, if they're running this offense, the quarterback is probably a pretty good athlete and a dual threat, meaning he can run and pass. And so let's review. Number 1, always take into consideration the coverage. Number 1, by changing the coverage, you can potentially equalize the box and have a 7-on-7 matchup in the box. Down here to the second diagram, keep in mind that you may want to use the cross reads and play assignment football, and doing so By keeping those players at home and playing assignment football, those players know who they are accountable for in the running game. And finally, down here to number 3, control the B gap. Have that defensive end and that will linebacker close, and have that defensive end close, ricochet, and slow play. By doing these 3 things, the defense is dictating to the offense who has the ball instead of the offense dictating to the defense who's going to carry the ball. I hope this video has been beneficial as always, whether you are a player, coach, or fan, in expanding your knowledge of the game. As always, please like the videos on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to see a topic discussed in a future video, please let me know in the comment section of this YouTube page, or email me at xzandos.com, and I appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.